Hi, this is Justice with Tablet Pro, and today we're going to talk about whether or not you should upgrade to the Surface Pro X or if you should wait. Will it run Photoshop? Will it run the drawing applications and Adobe Premiere and all the different ones, Blender and Zbrush and these different programs that we're used to using? And if it doesn't really matter how fast it runs other stuff. If we can't get it to run 64-bit applications that were made for Intel processors, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for a lot of people. So I know that's a big question that a lot of you had, and I have some answers. It took me a long time and a lot of work to get here. So I have some answers for you, and there's some good and some bad. So stay tuned. So here's the big deal. How do you know if the programs that you're running right now will work on the Surface Pro X? Like, definitely will work, not just might work. You can actually test them or run the 32-bit version of the program, and if it works, then you're going to have a pretty good idea of how it's going to work on the Surface Pro X. So in trying to figure this out, I did a lot of research on other computers that are ARM-based and run Windows 10. So like the Asus Novago, the Samsung Book 2, and I think the Book S. I think those are all ARM-powered Windows 10 devices that are trying to do kind of the same thing that the Surface Pro X is trying to do. And they're older, and they're like a year old for all of those. And so they're not going to be the same speed, but it should give us an idea of kind of what to expect. So the first way that you can check, and probably the best, easiest way to check whether or not your application is running in 32-bit mode, again, 32-bit being the supported mode for the Pro X, go into the Task Manager. So you can right-click on the taskbar, or you can hit Control-Alt-Delete. Once you have that selected, you're going to click on the Details tab, and then right-click on the top bar, and you're going to choose Select Columns. Once you have Select Columns opened, you're going to see a couple different options here, one of which is the word Platform. You're going to select Platform, and that's going to tell us if it's a 64-bit or 32-bit program. Now, when I first did this, you're going to see a bunch of different options here. 32 and 64 are going to be mixed together. Click on the word Platform, it'll sort it. And so it'll be sorted by whether it's 64 or 32-bit. You click it twice, it's going to reverse the order of the sorting. So all of your 32-bit applications are going to be at the top. So you can look there. I saw Clip Studio, and I was really excited, and it's the launcher for Clip Studio. Affinity Designer is not, and they say they will never produce a 32-bit version of Affinity Designer. That's a huge loss. Now on Adobe's site, it says that there is a 32-bit version of Photoshop CC 2018. Not the newest version, but 2018 is not bad. And there's a couple different differences that you should expect, like the amount of RAM that it can use. The 32-bit version of Photoshop can use 1.7 gigabytes of RAM. The 32-bit version, and that's on the 32-bit version of Windows, 32-bit version of Photoshop on 64-bit version of Windows, which is what this is supposed to be, can use 3.2 gigabytes of RAM. 64-bit version of Photoshop and 64-bit version of Windows, you're supposed to be able to use as much RAM as you can fit into your computer. That means 8 gigs, 16 gigs, those are basically the normal configurations. And so you could use on a 8 gig Surface Pro X, you could use 8 gigs of RAM in Photoshop, minus what you have to use for other processes on the computer and operating system. But still, that's quite a bit more than 3.2. So you may want to wait and see the actual test on this device before you jump in and purchase it. Granted, Microsoft does have a good return policy. The 32-bit version of Photoshop 2018, Photoshop CC 2018, I can't find it. I tried to use the Creative Cloud to download the oldest version that they had, which was version 18.1.7, assuming that maybe that was the version I was looking for, was not. And so I don't know how to find it. So if anyone in the comments can throw a link or help us find where the 32-bit version of Photoshop is, we should actually be able to test it on the i5 Surface Pro 6 and get a good idea of what this is going to look like on the Pro X. Probably will be pretty close to the same speed, and then we can limit the RAM size to see what that looks like. All right, if you like this video or found any of this information useful, then please subscribe, click the notification icon, and share it. If you have questions, put it in the comment section. I check those regularly and done a lot of research on this topic, so hopefully it can help. Check out the Asus Navago, the Samsung Book 2 and S. If you want to get a feel for how people are liking the last iteration of this product, the first wave of Windows 10 on ARM devices, almost everyone says that they're really slow and that they're very limited in what they can do. And I know that that's changing, but we don't know how long it's going to take. So just be cautious, wait for reviews, actual testing on devices using the software that you want to use. All right, guys, thank you again for watching and have a great day. And we'll see you in the next video.